session, and the minutes contradicted themselves, the draft minutes, so those were the ones that needed to be corrected were the August minutes, not the September minutes. It was September we made the motion to correct the August minutes.
Pleases the commission, and let's just, if we postpone both months, while staff gets a chance to look back, since there was a bit of confusion.
So, motion stands.
Second.
Stands, the second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Martinez, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of new San Miguel County employees, Mr. Leo. New county employee. You can hire anybody, there she is.
No new employees.
No new employees. Public input. Forum. Yeah, we, like that, looking at the board, letter of appreciation, so we read that at this time, please, Counselor? Letter of appreciation for one of the employees.
Yes.
October 8, 2018, San Miguel County Board of County Commissioners, County Manager, and County Road Supervisor, San Miguel County Administrative Officer, location 4770. To whom it may concern, the following undersigned property owners and taxpayers would like to thank Carlos Lopez, County Road Supervisor, Maria Martinez, the Board of County Commissioners, for making the recent road repairs and improvements to the old Route 66 section of road that goes to the village of Romero. We need to have adequate safe access for emergency and fire vehicles, especially during the winter. Since this is the best the road conditions have been in 30 years, this is the best road conditions have been in 30 years. Sincerely, property owners Michael Costa, Jerry Montello, Joe Tapia, Jonathan Tapia, and Kelsey Barrera. Congratulations. Public input. Aggie Ortega. Let me go over the ground rules for the public input before we do that. Individual wanting to speak or address the commission during public input item must sign in on the public input form prior to the commission approving today's agenda. Recognized speakers are allowed to speak on items relevant to county business and responsibility. In order to promote orderly, efficient meetings, respectful of everybody's time, county chairman will recognize individuals who have signed up to speak. Recognized speakers will be limited to 3 minutes, public comment period. Recognized speakers shall be permitted to speak no more than one time. No rebuttals to the comments by others will be permitted. Comments, applause, or other interruptions from the audience will not be allowed. In order to promote orderly meetings, to attendees feel safe and secure in their attendance, directing abusive comments that disrupt the meeting shall not be allowed. All speakers shall address the Board of County Commissioners, mention their name, and then speak on the issue from the podium. Aggie Ortega.
Can you hear me? I'm not good with this type of stuff, so pull this out and testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, County Manager, Board of Commissioners, Mr. Dave Romero, Attorney, and the audience. Thank you for having us here. We kind of got a message on our Facebook that there was going to be a meeting, a public meeting on the block grants, and that's why we are here. I just wanted to let you know that we're very much interested in obtaining a grant for our center and our state library, which is a developing library.
I don't want to interrupt you, but we're having actually a public hearing on this. So we will allow you to discuss it at that time, right after the public input. We're going to open up a public meeting on the project, requested projects, and at that time you can address it.
I appreciate your...
That way we'll have more time.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So stick around, we'll address it.
Can you hear me? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I basically wanted to reiterate the letter that you just wrote. We just had these road improvements done last week. They're still in the middle of making improvements on Romeroville. We do have some neighbors that consider the county road a private road and have put up obstacles so that the county can't go in and clean the bar ditches or clean the culverts that are there. But most of the village is done. I just want you to know that there are some people that the county needs to go out there and tell them that they don't own the road. They think that they own the road. And anyway, we just want to thank you, and we appreciate the work you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coca. Under new business, we have a presentation from the City of Las Vegas Film Office. Presenter is Angelica Lister.
Good afternoon. I'm just here to discuss what we've been working on with the city. My name is Angie Lister. I graduated from New Mexico Highlands University, got my graduate degree in media arts and computer science, and worked off and on for SDC Broadcasting. This is my 4th month at the city, and in that time, we've really been pursuing the film part as a film liaison. I was able to become a city-sanctioned liaison, and I've recently been working with a lot of film scouts that have been calling for different locations here in town. As you've seen, or you've probably heard, they're doing a film series, Roswell, New Mexico, and those film scouts were from the Longmire production. We've had some other film scouts call, and actually they were interested in this room as one of the locations as well. And that one is with MGM. The Roswell, New Mexico series is Warner Brothers. And we've had a lot of interest in this. We've been trying to work with as many people as possible to bring this to this area. My supervisor created this logo. The New Mexico Film Office advertises with Hollywood Reporter and Variety magazine. And so they asked that each city film office, if they didn't already have a film logo, to send it in, and that would be included on their advertisement. They also suggested that we work with the Association of Film Commissioners. I'm used to using PowerPoint. This is a new thing for me here. And here's the board of directors, just to give you an idea of the International Board of Directors. We, of course, have Nick Maniatis. I don't know if I said that right. And he's from the Santa Fe Film Office, but also on this board are people from New Zealand, Austria, Norway, Poland, and Vancouver. So the reach is really out there. And what they also said was that New Mexico is doing so well, as far as an example, that these international commissioners have asked New Mexico to teach them some things in the international conferences that they have. We've also collaborated with the Film Union, and we've had talks with them. This is all in the beginning stages, so there's still a lot of work to be done. They want to help us organize and launch a film festival, a New Mexico Film Hall of Fame in Las Vegas, and also having either a Longmire Day or Longmire Days. The door receives international travelers, and they speak to people in the businesses. They go just to take a picture. So there's a huge opportunity for film tourism, not just for Longmire, but for all the films that have been here and that are planning on coming. We have one that will probably be another series that will start in November, and that one will run through March. The Roswell series is in season 1, and they're going to be filming until January. We've spoken to a few of the local business owners. We still have a lot of work to do on that. We are planning a presentation with the New Mexico Film Office to show business owners how it will benefit them. There's revenue and tourism that comes in with that. I'm going to give you a handout with some of this information. You can also find it on the New Mexico Film Office website. They have classes on the incentives once a month. They have trainings. There's a lot of different things that can be done. They have internships for students. And we also reached out to the area schools. Sorry. And West Las Vegas right now is the only high school that has a film program. Of course, Luna and Highlands. So we've talked with them. There's still, like I said, lots to do. They have a film crew advancement program where they also train them. And I just threw this in there as this is something that they teach the different crew positions, chain of command, executive producers, directors, all the way down to film scouts and post-production. One of the things we're also working on is the locations. There haven't been a lot of locations that have been updated. I received this as, this is a private property where he took his own photos, but he said it was okay to show it. The New Mexico Film Office, what they do is they get a lot of requests from producers and directors. And when they do that, they send out packets of the area. And right now what they're doing is they're going to inform us when those packets are sent out. That way we may not get all of them, but we know that there's an interest in the area. So we're working on a form that needs to go through legal. That way we have permission when people want to put their properties or their businesses on the New Mexico Film Office website. And if a private citizen wants to do it, they can actually upload it themselves as well. If I may, I don't know if you recognize this scene from a movie. It's Kevin Costner in a cornfield. And I would like to ask, if I say, if you build it, there you go. So that's just to show how far-reaching films are and how long they last. It's been almost 30 years. Yet they get 100,000 visitors a year to that. When Night at the Museum came out, there was an 18% increase in museum visits. What they've also learned is even if the film has negative or dark stories, people still want to visit the site. They have an entire website on the Shawshank Redemption. They have tours, they have little placards around the town, different places that were visited. Businesses have taken advantage of that, where they've created a Shawshankwich. They have a Shawshank Sunday, things like that. Another negative film that may have given some negative publicity to Albuquerque was Breaking Bad. But an intern from the New Mexico Film Office was actually one of the ones that got the RV, had it duplicated, started doing tours. He's on his second RV. He got a little car that was like theirs. The car wash where they were at, the candy lady put up her billboard there, and they're basically making a lot of money, and it's bringing tourism. And what they told us at the film office is that a lot of times people don't want to maybe base their entire vacation on the film, but they want to visit it and then get on with their vacation. An informal poll that was taken for New Mexico tourism said that 81% chose New Mexico as their destination because it was based on a film. Part of the things that we're working on, like I said before, more location photos, photo release forms, the updates, making more contacts. That's why I'm here today, is hoping that when the film scouts come or they call, that we can find out the places that they want to go. For instance, they'll call and they'll say, this is a real call. They'll say, I'm in town, I'm looking for a cornfield. And at that time, you have to be able to know where they could find that at that moment for their location. And that's just the way that that works. We've been working on our permitting process to make it easier for them. The Roswell, New Mexico Film Scouts actually invited us to be on the set, which they don't allow, but they said this was an easy time that they had. And so we were there on the night that they did the blackout. We were allowed to be there, which was really interesting because we got to see the equipment they use, the way they do things, the things that they face as far as when they're shooting a scene. We're planning on updating our film guide. I think the last time it was updated was 2013. You can find this also at the New Mexico Film Office, and I'm going to leave one for you all to look at. And this is a map that they did of all the films that had been filmed from 2002 to 2017, and they're in every part of the state. We, I think, see maybe more than some of the other towns, and that's just my personal view because we're so close to Santa Fe and Albuquerque, and so it's easier for them to come down. The reason they do choose Santa Fe and Albuquerque is because there's the things that are available that they do need. I don't know if you all saw the news last night, but Netflix is buying the Albuquerque studios, which means we're going to get a lot busier, and there's a lot more possibility for employment, services. That's another thing we're doing is we're going to start on an industry directory. So any businesses that want to be in that can provide services as the film crews are here, they'll have that information at their fingertips or online. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Lister.
Can I?
All right, under regular order. Public hearing selection for project for DBG application. Mr. Tafoya.
Good afternoon. What we're doing with this agenda item is the Community Development Block Grant Program, CDBG, provides that a public hearing be conducted and public comment be accepted in regard to possible projects for the CDBG application. If the public hearing is conducted during a county commission meeting, the CDBG requirements require that the county commission adjourn from its commission meeting and then reconvene into the CDBG public hearing so that the public hearing is reflected in the county commission meeting minutes as its own meeting within the county commission meeting. So what we're asking is the Board of County Commissioners to conduct a public hearing separate from the regular county commission meeting and accept public comment in regard to projects to be considered for a CDBG application, and also consider a recommendation from the county manager in regard to the selection of a project. So we'd like to ask that the county commission adjourn from this meeting and then call the CDBG public hearing to order. So somebody would have to make a motion to adjourn from this meeting, because we don't, if we don't do that, then we can submit an application.
There's a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This time the regular meeting is adjourned. We'll proceed to the public hearing for the CDBG application project.
Thank you. There's a couple of things I'd like to do. First of all, we did have a public hearing on September 5th at 6 o'clock in this room.
Chairman,
Oh, excuse me.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
That's big.
but since we are having a public hearing, maybe we should swear everybody in who's going to contribute to this discussion, including staff. And so what I'd like to do is just have anybody who's going to participate from the audience and staff just stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me.
I'm going to proceed after that, but that's okay. We can do everybody at one time. Everybody for the application.
Raise your right hand and state your name. I
I, Alex Tafoya,
do swear to tell the truth
do swear to tell the truth
in my presentation to the governing body
in my presentation to the governing body
this afternoon.
this afternoon. Thank you. We had a public hearing on September 5th at 6 o'clock in this room. We probably had about 12 or 13 people attend. We accepted comment, and several of the individuals indicated on a project list their preference for a project to be considered. Staff that was present on September 5th were Morris Madrid, our Public Works Supervisor, and Dr. Vidal Martinez, our County Manager. We have received so far 4 projects for consideration: Country Acres Road Improvements, La Llorona Domestic Violence Services, a fire substation in the San Jose area, and Tri-County Family Justice Center building improvements. If I could just explain the purpose and the history of the CDBG program. The program objectives are to benefit principally low and moderate income families, aid in the prevention of slum or blight, meet an urgent community development needs where an existing condition poses a threat to the health and welfare of the community, and other financial resources are not available. The amount of funding that was awarded last year, the past fiscal year 2017, for CDBG projects, there were 17 projects for a total of $10,767,745. Eligible applicants include all counties, incorporated municipalities, except for the cities of Albuquerque, Las Cruces, Santa Fe, Farmington, and Rio Rancho. Water and mutual domestic associations may apply for a planning grant through their county. Sanitation districts, public nonprofit groups cannot apply directly for assistance, but may apply through an eligible municipality or county. Indian pueblos and tribes receive funding directly from HUD. Eligible activities include, under the community infrastructure, water and sewer systems, street improvements consisting of roads, streets, curb, gutter, sidewalks, traffic control devices, and municipal utilities. Housing, under the housing element, real property acquisition, rehabilitation, clearance, provision of public facilities to increase housing opportunities, code enforcement, historic preservation activities. A maximum of $65,000 in CDBG funds per home can be used on rehab or repair activities. Under the public service capital outlay, community centers, senior citizen centers, community facilities that are designed to provide health and social, recreational, and other services to residents. Under economic development, assist communities in creating or retaining jobs for low and moderate income persons, creation or retention of businesses owned by community residents. Under economic development, assist communities in creating or retaining jobs for low and moderate income persons, creation or retention of businesses owned by community residents. Under emergency, address life-threatening situations resulting from disasters or threats to health and safety, must have appropriate state agency concurrence. Local resources must be non-existent or unavailable. Under planning, grant assistance may be used for a comprehensive plan if there has not been a current or updated plan within the last 5 years. Feasibility studies, base mapping, aerial photography, GIS systems, development of codes and ordinances, and there's a limit of $50,000 for a planning grant. Under the colonias element, communities must be within 150 miles of the United States-Mexican border and be designated by the county or municipality where located. The criteria necessary to qualify are lack of potable water supply, inadequate sewage system, and lack of decent, safe, and sanitary housing. Under the ineligible activities category, city halls or county courthouses are not eligible. General operation and maintenance expenses for public facilities. The only exception in regard to a courthouse is if a courthouse is not ADA compliant. Other ineligible activities include housing allowance payments and mortgage subsidies, expenditures for political purposes, and costs involved in the preparing of applications and securing fundings. Program requirements include the applicants must conduct at least one public hearing prior to selecting a project to advise citizens of estimated CDBG funds available, types of projects available, obtain recommendations from citizens regarding community development and housing needs. A minimum of 3 hearings is recommended. Citizen participation must be encouraged with emphasis on low and moderate income persons by publishing public hearing notices in English and Spanish and using other means such as media or posting flyers in an effort to reach the public. We posted our meeting notices also in the Las Vegas Optic and also on our county website. Recommendations from the public are to be considered and the project is selected at an official, regularly scheduled meeting of the governing body. Each CDBG application must address at least one of the 3 national objectives. Activities must benefit low and moderate income persons. The second one is the prevention of slum and blight. And then the third must meet urgent or life-threatening community development need. Application requirements include application requests are limited to $500,000 without a certified cost estimate, such as what an architect or an engineer would submit, or $750,000 with a certified cost estimate. Planning grants, the maximum is $50,000, and we may also submit a phased request, which is a requirement. Any project we apply for has to have a full phase and a partial phase with the cost estimates for each. An applicant must meet threshold requirements. Any grantee with 1 or more active grants in the infrastructure, public service, capital outlay categories, and colonias projects cannot apply for additional funding until the current project is fully closed. Rural applicants are those with a population of 3,000 or less. They must provide a minimum 5% cash match. Non-rural applicants, which would be San Miguel County, must provide a 10% cash match. Applicants may request a waiver of the matching requirements in the absence of local resources or apply for a loan to meet the matching requirement at appropriate interest rates. Applications are scored by rating certain criteria such as description and need, benefit for low to moderate income persons, leveraging citizen participation, planning, feasibility and readiness, user fees and revenues, and cost benefit. The Community Development Council will also take into consideration current economic situations if the entity was funded last year and application presentation. Our past CDBG project was a Salvinoso Road and Drainage Project on County Road C55A. We submitted an application for the full amount of $477,660, and we were awarded that, and the project was completed, and that grant has been closed. Okay, the possible I think I already indicated those. The possible projects that we received so far include a substation, a fire substation in the San Jose area, Tri-County Family Justice Center, building improvements. They've submitted a cost of approximately $190,000. The La Llorona domestic violence services, we have no information that was submitted for that project. We also have received some suggested projects from the village of Pecos, water lines, 2 road projects, meter reading upgrades, a Ponderosa water line, wastewater lagoon closure, replace 2-inch main water line, water system generator, water meter reading upgrades, water and sewer line mapping documentation, and East Pecos water wastewater project. And that's all that county staff has received so far. So we would ask if you could go ahead and conduct a public hearing. We did a short recap of each project, but I think I'll wait until we get the public hearing done and then present that short recap to you. And I would ask that anyone who's going to present something, if they could sign in on the tablets with their name and mailing address. That way, if we need to contact them or advise them of any.
Mr. Tafoya, if I can ask you,
Yes.
you reviewed all these applications that you received, and do they qualify under the guidelines?
What we have planned and what we've done in the past is we're not really asking for final selection of a project today. We're asking for, if you'll entertain a recommendation that the county manager may have or may not have, and then we will take a look at that one project or 10 projects, whatever they are, and schedule a meeting with local government division, our program manager for CDBG, and have a pre-application conference with them. We've done that several times in the past to determine which application or which project would be best suited for a CDBG application. And then we'll come back and ask the Board of County Commissioners to select a project. Because a lot of these projects, CDBG is open to county and municipalities, and some projects may not be appropriate for a municipality and others may not be appropriate for a county. And we just want to make sure that it's, a CDBG application turns out to be about 5 inches thick, and we want to make sure that whatever project ultimately gets selected by the Board of County Commissioners is going to meet the various requirements of the CDBG program, including meeting the low to moderate income requirements, and at least 51% of the target area that the project would serve needs to, 51% or more needs to be of, individuals need to be of low to moderate income. So that's a strategy we have planned to do that. We just don't want to submit an application and then find out later on that it's not going to work. We want to get local government
So
permission.
what we'll do is, we'll just ask the speakers to stand probably along that line. Actually, no, get up one at a time. Sign in, your name, your address, and your phone number, please, as you come up and speak into the microphone so we can all hear you, okay? I don't know. Do you have all the projects?
Pardon?
You have all the projects, the different questions. Everybody here has submitted, has submitted a project request, and you have not.
No, these are project requests that we've received either by email or we received at our public hearing on September 5th. So there may be individuals here that have a project that we've not received yet.
Okay, they haven't submitted anything to you.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of the public hearing, so that we can receive projects and from
What is your
individuals.
recommendation as to how we call up the public to speak?
Excuse me?
What is your recommend, how do you recommend for us to ask the people that are presenting, in what order?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Random?
Just anybody.
Okay. All right. How many people are here to speak on behalf of the project? Okay, we're starting from the front row, and you had already addressed it. Ma'am, if you could be the first one to present. We'll ask you again to sign in with your address and your phone numbers. Did I give you one?
Yes. Again, good afternoon. And I'm hoping that you can hear me. Okay. My name is Aggie Ortega. I come from Villanueva, New Mexico. And we first heard of the grants, CBG grants, about 2 weeks ago. Mr. Harold sent us an email. And thank you, Mr. Harold Garcia. And so we decided that we'd come in today and let you know that we are interested in applying for one of the grants, whether it is a small grant. And our purpose for that grant is because we have a building that has been, it was an old public school building that had been abandoned because a new school was built further up the valley. And so this building, when it was abandoned, we took it over in about 1999, and we have not been able to do anything, to any renovations, any remodeling. We've had a hard time trying to get funds for this building. This building houses the starting library, the David F. Cargo Library, and it houses the community center, which this community center in the valley throughout San Miguel del Vado is the hub of activities for the people in the valley. So currently, what we are asking is we would like for you to consider us as part of the grants to be able to do a renovation or in phases if need be, and starting with our roof. We have a very leaky roof that we keep sealing and sealing and sealing with meager donations that are brought in, that we get from donors. We would like to be able to be considered for this grants. We don't know what the procedure is other than getting a packet and being able to fill that out. We need to know what the deadlines are, what else we have to do. We would appreciate if you could help us with that. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Good afternoon, County Manager, Commissioners, Attorney. My name is Rebecca Salazar. I am the Library Director of the David F. Cargo Library in Villanueva, which is housed under the Historical Center as Valle Community Center. As Ms. Ortega was saying, this building is old. It actually was first erected in the late 1800s. It was accidentally burned down in the 1940s and rebuilt, and it's been a series of senior citizen centers. It has been abandoned for a few years and then reopened as a community center as it is today. The walls consist of masonry brick. The ceilings are where you can see the vigas in the ceiling. We have a few quotes that we have received from a couple of local construction companies here in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and Santa Fe. And if we redo the whole roofing on the exterior with the layer of the insulation underneath the roof itself, then we are saving the expense of having to rebuild the interior ceiling of the building itself. The building also was run by nuns between the 40s and the 60s, so we want to preserve that building as much as possible. We have been hired the first staff member, which is myself, as it has been a volunteer and nonprofit since the 1990s. And with us receiving new furnishings for our library, erecting a computer lab as well, and also receiving grants from various resources, including the County of San Miguel. We have this new equipment, new furnishings, and we need to preserve the shell of the building so we can be able to preserve what's inside of the building. And we are the only reliable resource as far as the informational highway in Villanueva. So we are asking to be a part of the application process for the community development plan. Thank you very much.
Very good from the Commission.
Chair?
Yes, Manager. You have a comment?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. DeFoya, for clarification, can the county apply for a grant in which we don't own the property? For example, I know with the library, the county does not own the library. Is there anything in the regulations that stipulate or restrict us from applying for a grant in which we do not own the property?
This would be a community or a public facility or community facility. And the issue with community facilities is, well, there's several. First of all, the first issue would be site control. And the county would need to own the facility. The county would have to, at the time of application, submit an operating budget and indicate how things such as insurance, salaries, utilities, maintenance are going to be paid for, and how are they going to be provided, the type of services that are going to be provided by the facility and operation and things of that nature. the county would need to own the building and the land at the time of application. So any kind of a community facility application is a little difficult, if you will, because we have to demonstrate acquisition of the property and how that was done. So I guess, I don't know if that answers your question, but.
So therefore, what you're saying is the county doesn't own the building there, we wouldn't be able to apply for the grant then, right?
That's correct.
Who owns the property? Who's the legal owner?
The legal owners is El Valle Community Center. It was given to us by the West Las Vegas schools. And it is in the San Miguel del Vado land grant.
Mr. Morse-Madrid, I know you used to work at DFA. Do you have anything to add to this?
Mr. McCoy is exactly right. The county would have to own the property, whether it's a building or a road, any type of asset, and that's a federal regulation. DFA has no latitude in making exceptions to that. So the answer is yes, property has to go by the county. All right.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I understand. This county commission, our board approved some money for the David F. Cargo Library a few months ago. Has that money been, have you received the money yet from the county?
We did, Commissioner, we did receive it. There was an error in the names of in the check, so we brought it back and it's now being corrected.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, any other comments, questions? All right. All right, next presenter, if you're here on the same project, I'd like for all of you to speak to that project at the same time. Who's next? Let's go. Mr. Garcia? Oh.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the Commission, administrative county staff. Thank you for affording us the opportunity to be here with you this afternoon. First, I wish to introduce members of the East Pecos Mutual Domestic Consumer Water Association, Mr. Robert Baca, President, Mr. David Vigil, Vice President. Other members of the board, unfortunately, were unable to attend since they had prior commitments. My name is Arthur Varela. I'm also engaged with East Pecos in doing administrative work and consulting and financial work. First, I wish to thank Commissioner Janice Varela for bringing to our attention an opportunity to apply for a joint application with San Miguel County for CDGB funding. As you may be aware, the Village of Pecos and the East Pecos community, while geographically located in San Miguel County, are in fact separate communities. East Pecos is not incorporated with the village, but still resides in San Miguel County. Residents of East Pecos must rely on septic tanks and, in some cases, open pit sewers for waste disposal. There are approximately 500 residents in the east side. The median income level is $19,631, or 41.9%. East Pecos desires to connect to the Village of Pecos wastewater treatment plant. We have already prepared the necessary environmental document. We have complied with SHIPA requirements and have developed the preliminary engineering design. Upon acquiring the necessary utility easements, East Pecos will be ready to begin construction. Total project costs are an estimated $4.1 million. East Pecos has applied for funding from USDA and has received preliminary approval and has met the requirements for low to moderate income levels. While we have sought funding from other sources, a CDBG grant would go a long way in helping us achieve total funding. It is imperative that the Village of Pecos and East Pecos become compliant with Federal Safe Drinking Water Act standards in order to mitigate drinking water contamination issues, as well as the Federal Clean Water Act, EPA, and state environmental standards. But more importantly, because East Pecos residents live upstream from the water wells and the river, it is only a matter of time before the septic and sewer systems begin seeping contaminants into the underground aquifers and polluting the Pecos River. Source water contamination is certainly a major issue. This is a critical project that we believe merits funding consideration. It's an eligible project for San Miguel County, which provides a unique opportunity to leverage millions of dollars in federal funding, will benefit the residents of San Miguel County, and meets the eligibility requirements for low to moderate income levels for the county. We therefore respectfully request that the Commission consider the opportunity to allow us to submit a joint CDBG application with the county and East Pecos. Thank you for your consideration.
Any questions, comments, Commissioner Varela?
I'm sorry?
I'd like to thank you for coming to today and for taking this project on and for getting the ball rolling and for the funding that you've done and for addressing the issue of the river contamination. We have, like you mentioned, the septic and open source in some cases, which is also another hazard to health, as I've been reminded. But getting it off the river would not only benefit Pecos, East Pecos, the county, but all the downstream rivers on the users on the Pecos. So this is my pet project, and I'm really hoping that we can have some momentum. And thank you so much. And this also is I found out from DFA that Taos County and the town of Taos have applied jointly. So I'd like to be that other entity that does that for the Village of Pecos and San Miguel County and leverage that money. And there are a lot of good projects here, but I just wanted to thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Commissioner Varela. Thank you, County Commissioners. We appreciate your support.
I was going to ask you a question on the village itself. Do they all use the sewer system?
They are currently connected to the wastewater treatment plant, except for the northwest side of the village. There's currently a project in progress. It consists of 4 phases. The first phase has already been completed. We're trying to hook up that north side with the wastewater treatment plant in Pecos.
So has there been a study as to how many people actually use that system?
You mean in the Village of Pecos?
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire incorporated municipality of the Village of Pecos will ultimately utilize the entire system. Currently, the wastewater treatment plant is operating at a 56% capacity, so there's sufficient room to accommodate the northwest side of the village as well as East Pecos. In fact, we could actually accommodate Roa and Glorieta and still have operate at 80% capacity of the wastewater treatment plant.
Do people there use septic at all in the county?
In the county?
Yeah.
In the east side of the county, it's all septic tanks. And as I indicated, in some cases, open pit sewers.
Okay, so the majority of the village uses the sewer system, and the rest of the residents, some of them have septics?
That's correct.
Most of them.
That's correct. The East Pecos who lives in the county.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, that was my question.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, sir, you mentioned that East Pecos Mutual Domestic Organization owns the system right now?
The East Pecos Mutual Domestic Water Consumer Association owns the water system. We do not have a septic tank per se, a septic waste disposal system. The residents, the 500 residents of East Pecos currently have individual septic tanks.
Any comments, questions? Thank you, Mr. Odena.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here to speak on behalf of this project? Anybody else? All right, moving on, next project, anybody? Mr. Garcia?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Harold Garcia, and I am the Democratic nominee for County Commissioner in District 1. If everything goes well, I should be taking office in January. I'm here representing Country Acres, which is a village that is within District 1. This village contains approximately 500 residents as well, and it's approximately 2 to 3 miles outside the city limits of Las Vegas. The project that I am requesting is consideration of road and drainage improvements within Country Acres. This particular project is a county facility. It's part of the budget that it's part of the fiscal responsibility within San Miguel County right now. So there's no question as to whether ownership would be an issue with this project because it belongs to the county. The responsibility is within the county, unlike several other projects that I've heard that are not within the responsibility of San Miguel County. Country Acres is a subdivision that, like I say, there's approximately 500 residents that live there. It's a subdivision that was developed back in the early 1980s. The current subdivision has very poor drainage. The county roads that are maintained are at the same level as the property lines. So whenever there's water that comes down that community, a lot of these properties get flooded. You could have half an inch of rain that comes, and that half an inch of rain is going to stay in the subdivision for the most part until it dries up. So there's a lot of residents there that are having to suffer because of that, because of the condition. In my experience, I worked for San Miguel County for 16 years as a Public Works Division Supervisor, and I was fortunate enough that I worked with 6 CDBG projects. There was only one project that wasn't similar to Country Acres, which was the ADA renovation of this building that we're in. Other than that, we dealt with 5 other road projects that were very similar to Country Acres. We dealt with one at Camp Tuna, one at Old National Road, 2 projects in Tecolote, and 1 in Sabinoso. I know that this type of funding between $500,000 and $750,000 is probably not going to fund the entire project within Country Acres, but it would be a start. Many people that live in Country Acres travel the road every day. You know, there's a lot of, there's school transportation within that subdivision. There's public safety that responds to a lot of animal control issues there, you know, and so it's a very viable project. And so I would strongly encourage and request your consideration of this project. There's also 2 gentlemen here within Country Acres.
Yes, I have a question. I'm sorry, I missed the early part of your presentation. So the county acquired the subdivision? Because I understand a lot of subdivisions that are in place that the developers are responsible for the roads. In this one?
As you know, Commissioner Varela, the county is responsible for over 500 miles of roads. East Pecos has county roads that San Miguel County is responsible for. So Country Acres is the same thing. Any county road that is, any road that is within the Country Acres subdivision is the responsibility of San Miguel County. They are adopted county roads. The county commission, there's a process that gets taken when adopting county roads. This process was taken before my time here in 1999. By the time I got here in 1999, it was already an adopted county subdivision. But the county commission that was back in the 80s when the subdivision was developed, they took the option to adopt the county roads within that subdivision. And so this subdivision does fall within the responsibility of the County Public Works Division.
So the roads in that area are on the county road route?
Yes, they are.
Commissioner Padilla.
Mr. Garcia, how long has it been since those projects at Country Acres have actually been wanting to be accomplished by the county? I know that years ago they had some money and they were going to do some projects there. It didn't happen. So I know it's been promising the people there for a long time that the project would happen, but it never has happened.
We took on this project. Maintenance has always been occurring within this subdivision, but we took on this project for improvements approximately 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that. But about 10 years ago, we took on a major drainage, dream to fix the subdivision because it's needed. And we got funds for the first phase of the project. We were able to do part of that project because as a result, we were taken to court for the same reason that Commissioner Varela mentions. There was question on whether that subdivision was within the county's purview or not. Well, as a result, it turns out that the county is responsible for that subdivision. It went through litigation, and the end result was that subdivision does fall within the responsibility of San Miguel County when it comes to roads. When it comes to roads and public safety, there's the water system that is within that subdivision is owned by the city of Las Vegas, and so therefore the county does not have any responsibility with water, with any of the water system that's in that subdivision. There's also a private sewer system within that subdivision that is not the responsibility of San Miguel County. That particular wastewater system, I think, falls under an organization called Mesa Grande Association, and it's owned by 3 different people. But as far as the county roads themselves, they are under the responsibility of San Miguel County.
Another question, what are the likelihood or the probability of that this CDBG requirements could be met in that particular area?
The only thing that could maybe disqualify this project from not happening would be the conditions that are slum and blight, poverty medium to low. But as far as ownership is concerned, there shouldn't be a problem once a question is asked of DFA on whether ownership of that subdivision is within San Miguel County. There shouldn't be a problem because every year, the county applies for road funds. This is one project that could be a road fund. Anytime that you apply for road projects within San Miguel County for road funds, even this particular project will most likely have to be questioned. It goes through the New Mexico Department of Transportation. DFA will consult with the New Mexico Department of Transportation. Every year, if you'll notice, around April, the county commission adopts the county maintenance road log, the county road log system, and so the Country Acres is within the county road log that the county adopts every year. And that road log is submitted to the New Mexico Department of Transportation. The New Mexico Department of Transportation General Office has it in their record. So, for example, if San Miguel County applies for community development block grants, more than likely DFA is going to ask the New Mexico Department of Transportation if this subdivision is within the county maintenance, and the Department of Transportation will verify that it is within the county maintenance of San Miguel County.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, it's a lot of money to apply for and not get it, so that's why I'm asking about the probabilities
Right.
of, and I would like to see a project that most likely would qualify, because if it doesn't qualify, then what happens? Do we lose that money?
Well, you lose the opportunity to get funded. It's not that you're going to lose it. For example, the county just applied for funds for Old National Road last year. The application did not qualify. It wasn't that it was rejected. It just didn't qualify, and because it didn't qualify, the county lost out on the opportunity of applying for funds for Old National Road. So that's why the opportunity has come now to apply for new funds. And so I'm asking for consideration of applying for funds for Country Acres.
Any idea what the total cost would be to address that area?
I've been out of the loop for almost 4 years. But when I was here as a Public Works Division Supervisor, you're looking, $750,000 is probably going to give you maybe 1/3 of the phased improvements for Country Acres. We'll be lucky if we get 1/3 of it. There's probably, I think, I'm going to guess, there's maybe 10 streets within that subdivision. We may be able to get funding assistance for maybe 2, maybe 3 roads with the $750,000. If we were to get the full funding, the phased funding is going to be, I think, $500,000. So $500,000 would give us even much less than that. But $750,000 might get us maybe 1/3 of the subdivision improvements.
And another question I have, do you have any idea, we have transportation, school buses that go through that area. Do you have any idea how many school buses go up that way?
I don't have any idea, but I know that there's approximately 500 people that live there. And if you calculate that, let's say one child per household, you're looking at over 100 students. I mean, the likelihood of over 100 students is probably not there. So I'm going to guess that there's probably about 75 students, 50 to 75 students that come out of Country Acres every day from Country Acres. And that's a guess, without knowing the specifics of it.
Question for Mr. Garcia? If not, there's a couple more people who want to speak on behalf of this project.
Commission and staff. I've been a resident, my name is Daniel Bustamante. I've been a resident of Country Acres for over 19 years. And we've had kind of poor conditions for roads for the majority of the time. In the past couple of years, the county put base course down on all the roads, which made a huge difference. It helped a lot. But we still have drainage issues, and we haven't had a bad winter since the base course has been put down. So I think once we have a bad winter, the base course is going to require a lot more maintenance. So if we could get paving and drainage done out there, I think maintenance would be a lot better, a lot easier.
I have a question. You live there right now?
Yes.
Could you tell me how many school kids are out of that area?
I would bet that there's got to be at least 75, maybe even over 100, because there's the trailer park out there, plus the subdivision where all the double wides are. And there's a lot of young families, so I would guess 75 to 100 would be a good guess.
Is this like a mobile home community where you buy the property or you rent the property?
The subdivision part is where you buy the property, and then there's rentals in the trailer park.
Subdivision?
Yes, I'm a homeowner.
You own the property?
Yes.
Any comments, questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm a resident of Country Acres, and I've been living there for approximately 10 years now. My name is John Baca, and I'm a resident of Country Acres. I've lived there for approximately 10 years now. And basically, what they said is about our road conditions, and I want to thank you guys for putting base course down. Base court has helped a lot, tremendously. It was really, really bad. The school buses were getting stuck at times. It was just hard to get in and out of the subdivision. But that base course has helped a lot. But the problem is right now is that we don't have any drainage. And there's a lot of drainage issues, which the roads are going to deteriorate eventually because there's no drainage. If we could have some drainage, proper drainage in that area, with the base course that we have down for now, I think that would be a lot less maintenance that the county would have to do on a regular basis.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, next project. Anybody back there on this side? On this side. New project. Mr. Tafoya?
We recapped the projects that we had received before today. Just to offer a little bit of information, the fire station in the San Jose area, as with any community or public facility, the county must own the land and the ownership needs to be verified. So our fire chief, Andrew Duran, is checking on verification of ownership of the property. An operating budget must be in place and be a part of the county's current budget. There's no fire station over there, so there's no budget yet. Staffing must be in place, whether it's volunteer or paid. We need to look at and see if other funding sources are available, such as the State Fire Fund. The State Fire Marshal needs to approve the establishment of the fire department, and the low to moderate income requirements for that area must be met. On the La Llorona Domestic Violence Services, we received no information other than the lady that attended the public hearing, and she just wrote the name down on the list of projects. I contacted her, and she never provided anything. The Tri-County Family Justice Center improvements, the county does own the facility. It serves a 3-county area. Again, the person served must be of low to moderate income. So for purposes of CDBG, the persons served are considered a limited clientele and therefore are considered low to moderate income. The operating budget must be in place and be current. The types of services provided need to be included in the application. The East Pecos wastewater, we spoke with local government division about that project, and site control and anti-donation issues would need to be addressed. The local government division legal team would need to review any arrangement in place between the county and, I didn't ask about a joint application between the county and I guess it would be the East Pecos Water Association. Local government also advised that at the present time there are no such situations that have been funded by CDBG. The county needs to own the facility, and there really wouldn't be a facility because it's an infrastructure project connecting lines to a treatment facility that's owned by the village of Pecos. The county does not own the treatment facility. A rate structure must be in place and be current, and that rate structure needs to be submitted with the application. A current operating budget would need to be provided. In regard to land acquisition, all utility line easements will need to be in place at time of application. An asset management plan must be in place, and that needs to be submitted with the application. In regard to Country Acres, those roads are on the county road log. They are county roads, as was pointed out by Mr. Garcia. Those roads were adopted by the county commission back in the early 80s. Apparently when the subdivision was built, the developer turned the roads over to the Board of County Commissioners, or the Board of County Commission, and the low to moderate income guidelines would have to be met within a subdivision. We could pick a neighborhood, if you will, and we would need to go out and actually do an income survey of the neighborhood and find out how many people live there. But there's a salary range. We get those numbers from local government. There's a form we have to fill out. We ask them for the salary range and determine if they meet low to moderate income. There has been some work and some design work done in the past by the engineer that was on contract at that time to determine some work. It's the community facility, the cargo library. Again, the county would have to own the building, operate the building for that project. And I don't know, did I miss anything more?
No,
one thing that I did notice on the CDBG doesn't make anything simple. On page 109 of the requirements was a sentence that says, on joint applications, paragraph rather, joint applications are allowed when two or more eligible applicants within reasonable proximity of each other wish to address a common problem. Number one, joint applications must satisfy certain criteria found in federal rules and must receive division approval prior to submitting an application for funding assistance. That division would be local government division. Number two, one community will be designated to serve as the lead applicant and will be subject to administrative requirements and to the application limit requirements. Number 3, other parties to the joint application may submit another application. So if the Board of County Commissioners wants to consider a joint application, we would need to meet with local government division first and see if that's a possibility, and then see how such a joint application would be structured. Again, the county has no site control in the East Pecos area in regard to the infrastructure, and most likely the appropriate entity to submit an application, a joint application, would be the Village of Pecos because it's connecting to their system. And it appears that the county may be able to submit its own application. Is that what I'm reading, Mr. Madrid?
For that system in Pecos?
Yes.
But it looks like, just from hearing is that's a system expansion project. The Village of Pecos would be expanding the system that they have in place. So the application would either come from the village, the county could do a joint application, but it would have to be with the village. Joint applications can only be submitted by local governments. Non-profits or other quasi-governmental entities are not eligible. It's got to be 2 government entities.
Yeah, thank you. May I speak, Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner
Thank you. Now, yes, and I just wanted to point that out. Thank you, Mr. Madrid, that this would be a project. It was a little bit confusing because this would benefit the entire area that I mentioned, but the project would actually be, or the application would be joint. If this goes through, we're looking at this meeting with the local government division. I met with our mayor and local government division staff, Mr. Varela. So the applicants would be the Village of Pecos and San Miguel County, and the East Pecos Water Association is one of the beneficiaries. The other projects that were mentioned, the water line, that's in the Village of Pecos. So there were some other things mentioned besides the wastewater project, which is one of them. But the applicant and the Village of Pecos is going to submit their own application. And if the county, if this works out, after you meet with DFA and we work this out, then it would double, instead of just getting $750,000 as the max that they might get, because it seems like they're qualifying on that road, then San Miguel County could provide that $750,000 additional match to bring $1.5 million to those projects. So that's kind of the baseline. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Tafoya?
I don't have anything else to add right now. Thank you.
Before we call for motion to adjourn,
Well,
anything else that we...
if I may, I don't know if the county manager was going to make a recommendation or not at this time. I don't want to put him on the spot, but I'm going to.
For work that the infrastructure for the sewer system is in the town of the village.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
If you're going to speak, since we're on the record, we need to be able to hear you, and I know the clerk's office has been having
You
trouble.
need to decide anyone here in the body, but we'll allow you that opportunity now.
Excuse me, were you sworn in earlier?
No.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Robert Baca,
Do swear to tell the truth
swear to tell the truth
in my presentation to the board tonight.
with my presentation to the board tonight. Board, if I can give me an opportunity to talk. The infrastructure for our sewer system, it's going to be on the county owns the road. That was my only thing to let Alex know. And we're not part of the village, so that's why I think we might be two separate or go with the village. So just something to think about.
Mr. Tafoya?
Yes, sir.
That's it? No, sir. Anything else we need to address before we have a motion to adjourn?
No, Mr. Tafoya has spelled it out exactly as required and has it well under control.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my recommendation at this time would be to go with the Country Acres Road Improvement Program. That would be the number one. Number two would be the Tri-County Family Justice Center building improvements. And then number three would be the East Pecos water system. With the Country Acres Road Improvement and Drainage System, what we would need to do is meet with all projects, we would have to meet with DFA, but we need to determine if they meet the low to moderate income for that project. For the Tri-County Family Justice Center building improvements, they're requesting $190,000, correct?
Yes.
If we do not make improvements to that facility, eventually we would have to take that out of our general fund to make those improvements, correct? Since we are responsible for that facility, correct?
Yes.
And then number three would be the East Pecos water system. We would have to meet with DFA to see if we could have a joint application submitted. But that would be my recommendation, Country Acres, Tri-County, and then the East Pecos, to give us the green light, if you will, to meet with DFA to make sure, just like Commissioner Padilla mentioned, if we're going to move forward, we need to make sure that we qualify for the funding.
So at this point, the recommendation would be not to vote on the actual project today, to take them into consideration and check to see for, check for compliance, see whether they qualify, and then make an actual vote in the November meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Okay, at this time, that concludes the special meeting. At this time, I have a motion to adjourn. So moved, Mr. Chairman. Moved by Commissioner Padilla. Second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor? Aye. That concludes the special meeting regarding the application. At this time, we will open the regular meeting and ask for a roll call, please.
Chairman Chris Nahad.
Here.
Commissioner Rocco Livari. Vice Chair Janice Varela. Commissioner Maria Martinez.
Here.
And Commissioner Arthur Padilla.
Here. All right, moving on to the commission meeting. Office of Emergency Management is holding a digital workshop for all hazard preparedness and recall on October 11, 2018, and then MA2 sub-room from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mr. Maestas.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, County Manager, Ms. Gonzalez. Office of Emergency Management, along with FEMA, will be hosting a senior officials workshop, All Hazards Preparedness, MGT 312, on October 11th at 8 a.m. at New Mexico Highlands University in room 320. This workshop provides a forum for senior officials and to understand strategic and executive level issues related with all hazards disaster preparedness, to share proven strategies and best practices, and to enhance coordination along with community officials responsible for emergency preparedness, response, and recovery. This workshop emphasizes planning, operational coordination, and public information and warning through extensive group discussions and a tabletop exercise that's based around our jurisdiction. Again, this invitation is solely for our commissioners, our department directors, as well as our City of Las Vegas counterparts.
After tomorrow?
It is this Thursday, yes. That's it.
Informational purposes. Is that?
I'm sorry?
I have a commitment in the morning, but can I be there just about 2 minutes?
Sure. As long as we can get a little bit of your time, would be appreciated. Thursday, yes.
There's a nice little flyer. elected officials, senior appointed officials, emergency management director, educational institution administrator, public and private sector executive, chief, department head, public health officials, non-governmental organization, state, federal, agency representatives, public information.
So typically, this class is usually administered to, or is open to the whole public, as other counterparts from other jurisdictions, but we've closed it to our area so that we only have our county administrators and our city administrators to go through our tabletop exercise that we have scheduled for the afternoon.
All right. Any questions? Under item number 3, request approval of an adoption of resolution 10-09-18, continuity of operation plan. Mr. Maeta.
So we, the county, have composed this plan, which is called a COOP plan. Virtually, it is a relocation plan for our county government in the instance that our building here at the administration building is uninhabitable. By federal law, our government has to continue to function in all times of disaster. So with that, we would like to present a resolution number 10-09-18-SMC COOP. The resolution approving participation in the continuity of operations planning process and adoption of the San Miguel County continuity of operations plan. Whereas San Miguel County government desires to prepare and mitigate for such events and seeks to promote the general welfare of San Miguel County employees and the safe and orderly relocation of county administration building. And whereas the San Miguel County government worked with their members to develop a continuity of operations plan, COOP, and whereas continuity plans must conform to Federal Continuity Directive 1 and all applicable continuity planning guidance issues by FEMA. And whereas the New Mexico Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management supports local continuity of operations planning and encourages local governments to participate in counties' continuity of operations planning process. Whereas staff recommends that the San Miguel County government approve the continuity of operations COOP, and whereas the San Miguel County government deems it in the public interest to approve this plan. Now therefore be it resolved, San Miguel County government, that this plan be approved.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Mr. Maestra, number 4, request approval and adoption resolution 10-09-18, San Miguel County / City of Las Vegas mass casualty incident plan.
So the San Miguel County Office of Emergency Management hosted multiple meetings with our state and local first responders to compose our local mass casualty plan. This plan is basically a framework for our first responders to reference during an incident and covers 4 main portions: communications, incident command, triage, and patient transport. With that, we would like to also request the approval and adoption of resolution number 10-18-SMC/CLV-MCI. A resolution approving participation in the mass casualty incident planning process and adoption of the San Miguel County City of Las Vegas mass casualty incident plan. Whereas San Miguel County government desires to prepare and mitigate for such hazards and seeks to promote the public health and general welfare for our jurisdiction and the safe and orderly, helpful development of the jurisdiction. And whereas the San Miguel County government worked with local stakeholders and other participating jurisdictions to develop our mass casualty incident plan. And whereas the New Mexico Department of Health and Emergency Preparedness supports local mass casualty incident planning and encourages local government to participate in the jurisdiction's mass casualty incident planning process. And whereas staff recommends that the San Miguel County government approve the mass casualty incident plan. And whereas the San Miguel County government deems it in the public interest to approve this plan. Now therefore be it resolved by the San Miguel County government that this plan be approved.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Maestra. Under item number 5, personal actions and changes for the month of September 2018, Ms. Edina.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. In your packet, you have the
personnel actions that have taken place for the month of September 2018. These are being submitted for ratification and approval by the board.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Martinez, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
And item number 6, approval of resolution 10-09-18-REP risk awareness program. Ms. Piper. This resolution?
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Attorneys, County Manager, and Ms. Gonzalez. The New Mexico Association of Counties developed a comprehensive risk awareness program known as RAP. And the risk awareness program is a self-structured 50-week training initiative designed to improve county employees' awareness of loss causation factors and reduce each member's county direct and indirect costs. San Miguel County develops a risk awareness program with an agenda of topics and trainings with the incentives for employees who successfully participate and complete the program. San Miguel County has participated in the risk awareness program for the last 8 years, and we're looking to start our 9th year with RAP. Starting October this month, 2018, it will continue on until November 2019, and we're requesting approval to do so.
Motion to approve resolution 10-09-18-REP.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Padilla, second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7.
Thank you.
Consider and approve request for proposal for medication-assisted treatment. That program evaluated for the San Miguel County Education Center.
Chairman, Commissioners, before you is a contract for medicated assisted treatment evaluator. We went out to RFP in August. The committee reviewed the applicants and has recommended data and analytics research team to get the contract in the amount of $52,164.80. This dollar amount is paid through our grant for medicated assisted treatment and will be used not only to look at the data and the success of the program, but as we move to the future with the program, it'll be used to solicit more grants and further funding of the program. So at this time, we are requesting Commission review and approve the contract.
The comment, question, Commissioner Moreno. Motion to approve.
I have a question.
Yes.
Commissioner Moreno.
Yeah, is this different from the past? Is this something new, or is this the...
This is a brand new contract to evaluate our program. So this is an independent evaluator who will take all our stats and really develop a nice report. And it's also a component of our grant that we do this.
A requirement.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. No removal of plans for San Miguel County, Mr. Miguel.
Good afternoon, Chair, Commissioners. This item is requesting your approval of our snow removal policy. This is nothing new than what we normally do. What we would like to do is inform you and the public of how we do it and ask you to formally approve it so that it is a working document. I won't go through it word by word, but I'll summarize by describing it in this way. Our priority when we have a snow event
is school bus routes, number one. Next priority would be mail routes and other areas that get reported. Now, we have people all over the county, and by the way, Commissioner, we're going to miss Peter, because out in Pecos, he would mainly give us a report on what was going on there. We have people throughout the county that will call and give us the conditions without us having to be there. We do use weather forecasts and radar and everything to try and have the people in the right place before it happens, but we mainly rely on the public and the school districts to keep us informed as to where we need to allocate people. It's very fluid. It's never the same twice. The safety of the traveling public is always the priority. So it can change. If it's late in the evening or if it's on a weekend, we may have different priorities than if it was Monday morning and kids need to get to school. We also have plans in place if we don't have enough resources so that we can hire contractors on an emergency basis to help us with additional graders or snow plows or whatever we need. So we do have everything in place. Part of the things that we do, that we already have done, is we acquired salt and cinders. You'll notice a big stockpile in our yard. They're already mixed and they're ready to go. All our equipment has been serviced and it's ready to go. So if we got a winter storm tomorrow, we would be prepared. We ask that you approve this policy.
Hopefully snow removal will be an issue this year.
We would be thankful.
All right, get a motion to approve snow removal plan for San Miguel County.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela. Second. Commissioner Padilla in favor. Motion carries. You're item number 9, professional service contract with Miller Engineering Associate for engineering services related to FEMA project DR-41797-EW0027 for the Commercial Creek Bridge number 8731.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on this because it's an event that happened in the year 2014. Most of you were not on the commission. And this was a FEMA disaster declaration for flooding. It was that week during the summer that we had about 5 days of rain and got about 9 inches. The water was coming up to the bridge there on Mills Avenue. I think you all remember when it happened. This was damage to a bridge on Tecolote Creek. The entire project addressed several low water crossings and other things in all over San Miguel County. This particular project had gone kind of dormant because there had been turnover in staff here at San Miguel County and at FEMA. So it just kind of went off the radar. I got a call one day from our engineers, one of the engineers at Engineers Inc. asking whatever happened to this project, and I didn't even know about it. So at that point, we regenerated the effort, and FEMA has been real understanding and cooperative in helping us with this, reviving this project. It's for a bridge on Tecolote Creek that was damaged. The original engineer that worked on it said that the bridge had to be replaced. FEMA did not agree with that. They said it can be refurbished. They gave us 7 points that have to be addressed on the bridge. And there are the concrete slab, structural cracking, the river crossing, the abutment. The abutments are cracked in some areas and there's scouring on them. The metal rail on the deck of the bridge needs to be addressed. The steel protection, there has to be coating placed on the steel parts of the bridge. We need to add riprap, and we need to repair the guardrail. Those are the 7 points, and I wanted to be specific with them into the record, and I'll explain why in a minute. the first step in getting this project back on track was to hire an engineer. So we went through the RFP process, and we got 2 responses. One of them was from Forsgren and Associates, the other was Miller and Associates. So we set up a committee to evaluate their proposals. These proposals are not based on price, they're based on qualifications. The committee, through the evaluation that was provided, and it's a standard government evaluation, recommended the firm of Miller and Associates. We also need FEMA's approval on the process and the agreement. We don't have that yet. The total amount of this project of funding that we would lose if we just let it go would be almost $800,000. So, I did negotiate and receive a proposed contract from Miller and Associates. I sent it to our attorney for review. He's not happy with the format. I do not disagree. We need to change to a better format, a format that is accepted by government. And I've talked to Miller and Associates, and we have agreed to change the contract format itself to what the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, requires in their projects. It's a standard format that any federal agency should accept, so it should be accepted by FEMA also. So I'm not asking you to approve a document that's inadequate today. What I'm asking for in your approval is to give the county the authority with the manager, the attorney, myself, and with FEMA's approval to enter into an agreement with these basic elements. The first element is the contract is not to exceed $89,929.30. The second element, which is particular, these elements are particular to an agreement between the county and Miller Engineering. The second element is the scope of work. Those are the 7 items that I mentioned before. I'll mention them again, just so they're clear in the record. The concrete slab on the deck of the bridge must be addressed. Structural cracking needs to be addressed. The abutment cracking and scouring needs to be addressed. The metal rail on the deck. The protection for the steel coating. The addition of riprap, and addressing the guardrail on the bridge itself. That is the essential scope of work. This was dictated to us through FEMA by Department of Transportation. The last element, and this element is the hourly rates for the different types of engineers required on the project. The principal engineer would be $135 an hour. The civil engineer would be $110 an hour. The structural engineer would be $98.55 an hour. The design structural engineer would be $111.08 dollars per hour, and the quality control engineer would be $104.83 per hour. Now, in negotiating the price, because this is something that we normally don't do, what I used as a guideline was the contract that we had with our former engineers, Engineers Inc. They chose not to propose. And what I did was I used those hourly rates as a guideline because I thought those would be the professional standard rates for this type of work, and those rates had already been accepted by FEMA. So that's how I used the old rates as a guide for the new rates. What I'm asking you today is to, and probably include this in the motion, is to authorize San Miguel County to enter into an agreement sufficient for approval by the attorney and by FEMA that contains the elements that I just mentioned. And if it's your choice to table it, then we'll redo the agreement and bring it back in proper form.
Any questions, concerns regarding this request by Mr. Romero?
Members of the Board of County Commissioners, it's my legal philosophy not to accept these corporate contracts done by the architects, the engineers, because usually their attorneys try to hold contract to protect them. And North Madrid is absolutely right in evaluating and then sending this contract back for better language that we will prepare, which protects the county instead of the corporation. But I agree with Mr. Madrid that let's go ahead and approve of the process and of the bid, and then we just need the contract for further rewriting.
Is there any sense of urgency on this project?
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
Is there any sense of urgency on this project?
Well, we haven't been given any deadlines. They're working with us really well, but I think we do have a sense of urgency. We would like to get this done. If we can do the design sooner in the winter, then we can start construction earlier in the spring.
One thought is, Mr. Chairman, is that you approve the proposal and the contract pending approval by the manager, myself and Mr. Madrid. That way it's approved, and as soon as we get it done, we don't have to wait till the next meeting for approval, but we can put our signatures on it and we can go with it without a meeting.
In addition to that, Mr. Chairman, we would not fully execute the contract without FEMA's approval also.
I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve it pending the review on the contract and the actual contract by the staff and legal, Mr. Romero, prior to being going out.
That's the right language that we need in the motion to protect the county interest.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Maria. Second? Second? Second by Commissioner Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Under member item number 10, public works, Commissioner report for the month of September, Mr. Lopez, if you would like to speak on behalf of Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Lopez, on the day that he's going to receive a big thank you, is a little bit under the weather, so I'm going to substitute for him. I'm not going to give you the detailed report that he does on where our graders have been working. We are missing one motor grader, and we're in the process of replacing him with a temporary. We're missing Peter Vigil, and we're really missing him. What we do have pending, and what we have been doing, is the Gallinas chip seal project has been completed, I think, except for the seal. So that finally happened. That's been in the works for about a little over a year. We finally got a contractor to complete that one. The White Barn project, the paving has been done. We may have an issue with the material that they used, so they're doing additional lab tests. If they pass the lab tests, then the project will be accepted. If they don't, then we may have to go another route. It may have to be redone, or we may have to place a rougher coat on it. Right now, that surface seems a little bit smooth. It may have had a little bit too much oil in it, so that's what we're going to check to see. Sometimes we can put another coat on it. Sometimes we'll just have to redo the whole road. So it'll depend on the lab results. There's some rust spots in it. Those will have to be addressed. There's a washboarding, yeah.
However, the brickwork, that was excellent. That brick really needed to be repaired.
Yeah.
Coming up. But anyway, they did really good work on the brick, but the road does need a.
Yeah, there's some issue. We're not approving any pay requests until all those issues are addressed. We may have to live with it for the winter because of the temperature, but it will get addressed.
Oh, there was a portable culvert that had busted. Remember, your district, what they told me, they went in and put San Rafael.
Yes.
Yeah, and the culvert had actually burst in the middle. It was right in the middle of the road. Hartford, they called me. They went out there and took care of that right away.
Yeah, they got off what they were doing and went out there right away. It was a safety issue, so they took care of it right away.
Chairman?
Yeah. Mr. Padilla.
Yes, where are we on the project in La Tewa? Did they start that or?
No, no, we haven't started it. We were supposed to start last week, and I think the contractor is having issues either with the machine or with getting the asphalt, getting the oil to make the asphalt. As long as we have, I think, temperature of 45 degrees and rising, we can probably get it done all the way, maybe up through the middle of November. But that's our priority. That's the only one we have left.
And the bridge in Cañoncito?
The bridge, we need to get the materials because we're going to do that ourselves. And that will happen when we have time. And that should be within the next 6 weeks, probably. But we've just been a little bit shorthanded. That's why we haven't gotten to it. The only other thing that we have going, or we're going to have going, is we're going to have a kickoff meeting with the Federal Highway Administration, the Department of Transportation, the engineers, and the county regarding our Cinder Trail addition and expansion from Cinder Road up to New Mexico 65. So we're going to meet with the Federal Highway Administration to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we meet our deadlines in design. We're only funded for the design portion this fiscal year. When we show that we've done the design, they'll fund the construction part next fiscal year. And that's going to happen next week. And that's all I have for this month.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Varela.
Yes, thank you again for continuing to do the great work that you do. And I just have a question. Now that Peter Vigil is out, do you have a grader operator? Are you going to be sending somebody out to my district? Because I know that Peter covered a lot of the county. But
Yes.
he was in my district a lot, so I'm just wondering if that area will still be getting attention.
Yes, we, as a matter of fact, we interviewed for a temporary. We think we have a good candidate. We have not offered that position yet. So right now we only have 2, but if there are any issues in the area that are immediate, we could take care of them, Commissioner. Just let us know.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Item number 11, next SMT resolution number 11-11-08, CIS 002 at SMT, resolution 10-09-18-NT. Under background information, you can type under line number 1.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Commissioners, on August 27th, 2018, San Miguel County deployed the SMC Assessor Public Record Portal. A component of the portal is a public record advanced query option available through subscription. The advanced query public record data is a common request from title companies, mortgage companies, banks, and other commercial-related institutions. In order to provide this access to our customers, a subscription fee is required. This fee is implemented across the state by other counties who provide online access. In addition to the new subscription fees, current fees have been included or adjusted. So a little background on this information is we typically fulfill these types of requests from commercial entities through our IPRA requests that take up to 2 weeks to fulfill. With this subscription, the title companies and real estate and marketplaces will have that data available to them 24/7 through the internet. The subscription fee for this service is based on an annual subscription, January 1 through December 30th, for $500, which would substantially increase our revenue on IPRA requests. And we currently have 5 requests for this subscription currently that we hope to process tomorrow, which would bring in $2,500 immediately for this access. So it expedites the request from the business or the constituent and relieves the HR departments of the responsibility of fulfilling an IPRA request like it was done in the past. So this is just another opportunity for the county to provide public record information to those that need it in a timely fashion. Also in the schedule of fees, we updated a fee for electronic data and media costs if we have to provide a disk, a thumb drive, whatever the case may be. If the customer provides their own media, the cost, of course, is nothing. So at this time, we're requesting approval for the new subscription fee and the adjustments to the existing.
Motion to approve.
What line in the lower here? That's quite a bit, like,
not my staff, but the staff of the assessor's office and the staff of the human resource department who are having to fulfill those requests. It had become a burden on Desiree Trujillo, who is an outstanding employee of the assessor's office who possesses, just a huge amount of information and is, in my opinion, invaluable to that department. But she was not only having to handle her daily functions, but all the information requests to meet the requests of these commercial entities who required that type of information. We're not only talking the title companies here in town, but the global marketplaces such as Zillow, Rentberry, Roofstock, Open Door that provide not only real estate for sale, but rentals available in your area. So like I said, this isn't only for our local people, but it'll be global, and they'll have that information at a click of a button. And we'll have the ability to, like I said, increase our revenues on that type of request coming through the human resource department. So yes, it does alleviate a lot of the workload on the HR department and the assessor's office.
Yes, sir. May I ask, where do we come up with those figures? Is that something that other counties are charging, or how do we?
So there's 2 other counties in the state that currently provide this type of access to their records, and $500 is the standard fee based on, I guess, the discussions they had that was reasonable with the vendor and the county for that type of information. Under our circumstance, it would tremendously increase the revenue associated with those types of requests. So instead of $5 to $10 requests every time they come in, we're looking at $500 for the annual subscription. So one of my goals was to deploy those portals that were purchased with Tyler. We had been paying for them, but had yet to be deployed. So with the help of, like I said, Desiree Trujillo in the assessor's office, we're able to make this happen and make the information available to our residents and our vendors at a click of a button.
Chairman, I do have something. No, thank you. This is not exactly related, but it's related to your position with IT services.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a mechanism for people to either pay their taxes online with the credit card, and also I just thought of it, now we're talking about the assessor, but also I have been hearing from people that we don't have a way that they can pay their trash bill online, and I know we had a problem collecting, so are you guys working on that so people can pay either their tax bill or their trash bill online?
Yes, ma'am. I'm currently working with Justin in the Treasurer's Department on deploying the online payment option, but we're still going back and forth on which fees to collect via debit or credit card, because there's a fee that's imposed by the credit card company that's skimmed right off the top. So in most cases, your average credit card will charge you 2 to 4%. So let's say on a $100 transaction, the customer pays the $100, but we'd only get back the $98 or $96. So in the event where you have a property tax that's several $100,000, that 2 to 4% could be substantial. And we're not in a position to absorb that for the customer. So we're still going back and forth on how we're going to either offset that or pass that processing fee onto the customer, which in some cases is cost effective. You can imagine the price of gas driving from Conchas all the way to Vegas and back to pay for a couple of $1,000s. It might be worth the $25 to the customer to have the ability to pay online. So yes, we're working on that. We've already met with the local financial institution on what they can do for us on processing those transactions. So any suggestions you may have are greatly appreciated.
Another comment, motion that was made by Commissioner Varela to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Padilla, in favor? Aye. None opposed, motion carries. Item number 12, resolution number 10-09-18-RE02, addition to DC year name and newly named private road on the official 1911 road list in San Miguel County. Commissioner Review.
Chairman, Commissioners, the owner of a private driveway off New Mexico Highway 518 in the Sapio area petitioned the county to name the driveway leading to their residence. Per San Miguel County Ordinance, proposed to San Miguel Board of County Commissioners, please review and take appropriate action on road naming for any private road that provides access to 3 or more buildings and requires a name in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the public. The name Leaping Deer has been determined to be acceptable by the SMC road addressing staff. Per San Miguel County Ordinance, the property owner has paid the $100 fee required for the naming of the road and driveway. At this time, we're asking for approval of the road name Leaping Deer.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Padilla. Okay, please speak.
Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I didn't know. I'm familiar with Leaping Deer, beautiful facility. They do provide housing, rentals. But it brings to mind that as we look into lodger's tax and all these entities that are providing housing, maybe it'd be a good idea for the future that before we approve anything that they've requested, that we make sure that they are current with their lodger's tax and reports, sort of hold that carrot out in order to give them something, but not reward them when they haven't paid their lodger's tax. Now, as far as Leaping Deer is concerned, I don't know what their status is, but I would like to suggest that maybe it's something we as administration look at doing, making a condition that before entities get approval, those benefits, and that they be up to date in any and all taxes owed to the county.
Do you check into this at all?
There is no check. The only requirement in the ordinance for the naming of the road is a $100 fee, and the requirement for the name not to be a proper name. So in the event that we would require that fees and subscriptions are current, if that's the desire of the commission, we can make that happen. Which I don't think it's a bad idea.
We do have an ordinance on the development end of it or zoning that requires them to be up to date on all their, like solid waste, taxes, everything before they're approved to do any type of development. So that I think that's something that you're talking about is making sure that they're up to date on all their taxes and solid waste and all that before anything's approved. And if we do have something in the development end, but I'm not sure if we have anything in writing on as far as the ordinance for your requirements. I don't think so.
No, sir, it's just a $100 fee, an application, and the use of something that's not a proper name. But that can always be included if that's the desire of the commission and the manager. That's not a problem. I think it's a good idea. I think regardless of whether a business is in Las Vegas or not, I think they should have a business license. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. Any opportunity we have to watch each other's backs and collect any fees due to the county, I think is a great idea.
Also, I'm sure that if they require a business license, they're also required to be up to date on all that. Mr. Tafoya could probably answer that question, but I'm sure that even to have a business license, I think the requirement is that they have to be up to par on all the solid waste, taxes, and everything else. But Mr. Tafoya could probably answer that.
As administration looks at, say, lodger's tax, property tax, solid waste assessments, we're finding that we need to be more critical about how much is owed pursuing them to get things paid to the county, and this might be an extra tool that we can use as we go through it. I know the treasurer's office and Mr. Tapoya on finance, all of us were finding more and more of these type of items that we need to start correcting or addressing.
Would that have to be part of the ordinance, or could that be added into a requirement of the actual requirement?
I think there's two things. We can look at the ordinance and expand its interpretation to cover it, or we can prepare a policy for your consideration. When I mentioned this to you earlier, I'm just what I was talking about. Maybe that's something with your direction that we can go ahead and prepare so that we're looking at everybody and whatever they come forward and request. They should come forward with clean hands, that they paid all their bills, that they owe the county nothing, that they're paying taxes before they request something from the county, in my mind.
All right, the motion voted on passed. Under item number 13, resolution number 10-09-18-RA03, addition of Shepherd Lane, a newly named private road on the official E911 road to San Miguel County.
The owner of a private driveway off Frontage Road 2116 in the Row area petitioned the county to name the driveway leading to the residence. Per San Miguel County Ordinance, proposed to San Miguel Board of County Commission, please review and take appropriate action on road naming for any private road that provides access to 3 or more buildings and requires a name in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare to the public. The name Shepherd Lane has been determined to be acceptable by rural addressing. The property owner has paid the $100 required for the naming of the road and driveway. At this time, we request approval for the road name Shepherd Lane.
Discussion, motion to approve.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Moved by Commissioner Padilla, second by Commissioner Valero, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item number 14, resolution number 10-09-18-R01, addition of Pond Road and Union Private Road to the official E911 road list to San Miguel County, Mexico.
Property owners off Rainbow Road in Sapeo petition the named driveway leading to their residence. Per San Miguel County Ordinance, proposed to San Miguel County Board of Commissioners, please review and take appropriate action on road naming for any private road that provides access to 3 or more buildings and requires a name in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the public. So at this time, we're requesting approval for Pond Road in Sapeo.
Discussion, motion to approve. So moved. Motion to approve by Commissioner Padilla, second by Commissioner Padilla, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
Thank you, Commissioner.
15, agreement between San Miguel County and NCA Architects. Tapoya.
At the August 14th Commission meeting, the Board of County Commissioners authorized county staff to enter into contract negotiations with NCA Architects for architectural services as needed. The standard agreement between owner and architect, which was provided by Local Government Division, is being proposed for use. Initially, we looked at the standard agreement that NCA Architects submitted for our review. The county attorney took a look at it and felt that it was more beneficial to the architect than to the county. So we propose using the Local Government Division agreement. NCA Architects took a look at that and indicated that that was acceptable. So we're asking for approval of the agreement and asking that the county manager and the finance supervisor be authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of San Miguel County. NCA Architects will only do work on projects that the county will request a cost proposal for a particular project, and we'll review that cost proposal and negotiate that cost, whatever it is, before the county actually signs off on the cost proposal and for any project. but we didn't have an architect on board, so we'd like to proceed with that.
Motion to approve agreement between San Miguel County and CCA Architect.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Barrera. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Under item 15. Requesting for approval for donation to the San Miguel County Sheriff's Office vehicles and Mexico Island. Sheriff Gold.
Thank you, Commissioner. I apologize, but there was a resolution that wasn't in the packet that I'm going to be passing out. And it's going to need some correction. Apologize for being late.
No, sure.
Commissioners, this particular item is just a donation of an old vehicle that San Miguel County Sheriff's Office purchased a while back. It's a 2011 Ford Expedition. Vehicle has gone through an extensive amount of mileage. It might have been back from Commissioner Nahad's term. It might have been way back then. It's an old vehicle. Right now, the DFA is requesting that we go through obviously a process, get a resolution approval from you guys to get it donated over to them so that they could fix it and utilize it on campus. I think it's worth that better than putting it on the auction list, I think, and letting it go and sitting out there for a long time. So donating it to them, and they're willing to put the money that invests so that they could use it around campus, and I think that'd be a better idea. But obviously in this particular process, the Kelly book value was from $7,000 to $11,000.
That's correct.
So it requires us to get a resolution, and there's another little bit of complications that we sent off to our attorney, Mr. Romero, to review it. There was I was out, I didn't get back till today, so it was a real difficult. I hadn't had an opportunity to sit down with Mr. Romero or Mrs. Melinda to go over that. So all we need is, I'll let Mr. Romero talk the remainder of this time. We were going to say if we wanted to get approval so that we can fix the resolution and we can review a few other things that Melinda wanted to review. Is that correct, Mr. Romero?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Finance and legal have been talking about this particular donation of vehicle by the county to Highlands University. Initially, when looking at the donation, there might be a couple of ordinances or policies which would disallow it. But after talking more with the sheriff's office and Melinda and myself, what I recommend that we do is, because that discussion isn't finalized yet, that we go ahead and approve it, conditioned upon the manager saying that, and he'll listen to finance and legal's recommendation and make a decision whether or not we can do it or we should do it. That way we don't have to wait till another meeting to go ahead and get this done, and we can get rid of this vehicle at this time. So all I'm saying is give it a conditional approval with the manager making the final decision.
Recommendation from the council that we approve this petition be stated.
Make a motion to approve this resolution with the condition of the manager approval.
Second. Motion made by Commissioner Barrera, second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
And go ahead. I'm sorry?
I can give them the resolution.
Yes, that one's fine. Thank you, Commissioners. Mr. Romero.
Moving on to the Board of Finance meeting, and item number 17, bank transfer for the month of September. Speaking on behalf of Mr. Bustamante.
Justin Garcia, Chief Deputy Treasurer. So we have some payroll transfers. September 7th, 2018. We had detention center transfer $55,144.40. General fund was $186,418.52 for for a total of $241,562.92. September 13th, 2018, we had a detention center transfer of $360.03. September 27th, 2018, we had a detention center transfer of $54,554.59. General fund was $187,819.60 for a total of $242,374.19. Those are another one for September 27th. We had transfers from the general fund to payroll in the amount of $6,660.90. That was the payroll transfers. On the wire transfer to Bernalillo County, we had a transfer of $55,147.64, and that was for the Bernalillo County covers our the housing for the San Miguel County. So those were the transfers.
And then number 18 was for informational purposes only. Under item number 19, resolution that 2018-10, that 09-2.
That was number 18, the tax dollar report for the last quarter. 18.
Oh, you're 15, I'm sorry.
18. Okay, so for the last quarter, we collected $633,998.17 for the past 3 months. And that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not in a hurry. I just got off. I'm good. Under item number 19, resolution that 2018-10-09-2, Ms. Gonzalez.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this adjustment will allow us to budget an insurance claim that we received from the Association of Counties in the amount of $6,650.58. We've actually received the insurance claim. It's been deposited into the general account, but now I'm requesting that we budget for these funds on both the budgeted revenue and budgeted expenditure side, so we can start utilizing these funds for the insurance claim itself. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we had one burial claim submitted to our office from Rogers Mortuary Home in the amount of $1,200. We'd like to seek ratification for this particular claim.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Martinez. Second. By Commissioner Martinez, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 21, receipt report for month of August 2018.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I provided to you a report for the date indicated for all the receipts collected through our treasurer's office. There's a total of 52 pages. The dollar amounts of the items received totaled $619,680.97. No, Mr. Chairman. This particular item, this report is for the month of August 2018, and it lists all the journal entries that have either been entered in by the finance office and or the treasurer's office. There's a total of 95 entries that were made during the month of August, and the report is 40 pages long.
Under item number 26, cash balance report for the month of August.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this particular report provides to you the balances as of the end of August for each of the funds that we have within the county. The total cash balance at the end of August was $8,926,443.42.
Number 24, budget report for the period of July 1, 2018 to August 31st, 2018.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, in front of you, you have a budget report consisting of 53 pages. This report reflects the fiscal year 2018-19 budget from July 1st through the period ending August 31st, 2018.
Number 25, accounts payable report for the period of August 20, 2018 to September 24, 2018. The accounting payment register for the month of August 2018.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, in front of you, I have a report for the period indicated. The first report is a total of 10 pages. The total payments from that are $997,337.45. In addition to that, there are the housing payments that Bernalillo County makes on behalf of San Miguel County, totaling, let's see, I don't have that one, totaling $58,920.36 for the month of August. And this one requires approval.
Motion to approve. So moved. Commissioner Varela. Second. Aye. Motion carried. Mr. Manager, any items on that?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, at this time, we do not have any issues to discuss under executive session.
Review items. Entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Motion to adjourn, made by Commissioner Varela, on favor. On second. Second. Second by Commissioner Martinez, on favor. Aye. Opposed. Motion carried. We are adjourned.
It's okay.